I'm EWOK, MSK, HM, AWR, 7th letter. It's a kind of a dumb story. Basically, it involves one of my good friends, Ember. When we first started doing graffiti, he had a Carhartt coat, and we were waiting for the bus, and it was a brown Carhartt coat. It had a fur-lined hood, and he was like hunched over because we're in Minneapolis. It's about 10 below zero, waiting for the bus. And I said, "You look like an EWOK." And as soon as I said the word, it just kind of like flashed in my mind. Because at the time we were changing our words every week or so, and for some reason that's the dumb word that stuck. So this was around 92 probably. I started probably around 90-ish, 91, I guess. It was mainly just like drawing and, doodling on things, but not really going out and like actually bombing. And then I kind of started doing a little actual bombing, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I had just seen, some handful of examples of graffiti, and it was like interesting to me. And I just wanted to go do it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just went out there with, like 2 shitty cans of paint and tried to do like a little piece. It was more like a bubble letter thing, and I just kept doing it. I met more kids that were into graffiti. There was kind of more of an established scene that was starting to really bubble in the Twin Cities at that time. And I just happened to be kind of in the right place at the right time. Met a lot of influential people, and just fell in love with this thing and just kept doing it. It depends. I mean, I've had, a ton of different influences from the very beginning. There was a guy, Self One, this guy Emer from Minneapolis. He was a big influence on me. There was, tons of people. Like the AKB crew was kind of like the #1 crew in Minneapolis at the time. And I became friends with a lot of those people. I never got put in that crew, but we kind of there was sort of like a healthy, not even rivalry, but just like we kind of pushed each other to try and like everybody was trying to prove something, and it was more like friendly competition, like everybody was kind of rooting for one another, but we still had our own little cliques. And I can't remember exactly what time. It was probably around 97, 98. I think we formed a heavy metal crew, and so that's what I've been pushing since, in addition to MSK and AWR. I was always into drawing and illustration, painting and stuff like that, and it was just such a specific niche of I can't really explain it, but it was like when I saw it, I knew there was something behind it. There was a meaning to it, and there was kind of a mystery to it, and it was something you did on public property, presumably without anyone's permission, and that was cool to me. And it was just intriguing. I just wanted to learn more about it, and there was really no way at that time to get more information or to even get good references to see graffiti, because this was like pre-internet, and you could occasionally find somebody that had like a Crazy Kings magazine or something like that, but it was pretty few and far between. So we would just gobble up any kind of reference or magazines or videos or anything. I remember my friend recorded, there's something on like Entertainment Tonight or one of those like corny evening like talk show things about, they were talking about like just the whole scourge of graffiti on like the West Coast, and And I remember like specific things, like the guy Euler from, I think he's from Miami maybe.
Yep.
I remember seeing him doing these hollow throw-ups on a billboard, like in the middle of the night. Somebody was filming from like really far away, and we were just like, fuck yeah, this is the shit. Like, this is what we want to do. And yeah, you know, I basically spent most of my college days just, you know, kind of sleepwalking my way through my classes, and then going down to the tracks in Uptown and painting every day. You know, that was my life. And yeah, it just kind of sucked me into it, you know. What keeps me going is just, there's like, you're never done, you know, like there's always things you can improve on. There's always like things, like I still feel like I need to sharpen up just some fundamental things about painting that I haven't, you know, I'm not satisfied with yet. But, you know, there's so much new territory to explore. I mean, I kind of look at it as like the subway pioneers of graffiti. They had no script to go off of. They made all that stuff up. And a lot of that DNA is still in, you know, what pretty much all of us are doing today. So I kind of look at it as like, this stuff is limitless. Like, you know, I've spent a lot of time trying to really pay attention to what the forefathers of, you know, modern graffiti have done. But one of the things I want to, you know, when I'm too old to keep doing this, or when I'm dead or whatever, I want to have contributed something to it, you know, stylistically or in any way that I can. You know, I feel like I want to put my stamp on a couple of things, and, you know, hopefully influence people in the way that I was influenced by people, you know. I would say to like youngsters that are coming up or people that are just starting is really try and learn a lot about the history, and really make it a point to learn the fundamentals, like learn how to tag, learn how to do throw-ups, learn how to do like block letters and like solid, just simple bubble letters. Spend like your first 2 or 3 years just getting good at that stuff. I mean, I know one of the things that I went through, and I see a lot of kids, they're trying to do you know, 27 color wild style burner, you know, on their first week of painting. And it's like, it's hard for me even sometimes to just do like something really simple, 2 colors, you know, like to get all the nuances of just like a simple bubble letter to actually be 100% or in the high 90 percentile. It's not easy, you know, and I think you have to go through those steps. One of the ways I try and explain it to younger writers is like, you see those kids that have those like Fast and Furious cars where they'll have like a shitty like 1993 Honda Civic, and they put like $10,000 worth of ground effects and bullshit on their car to make it try and look dope, but it still looks like shit because it's a shitty car to start with. And I feel like if you have a BMW, you have a Mercedes, even if it's like a 3 Series or, you know, whatever the entry models of those cars are, they're dope cars and they work. You don't have to put a bunch of bullshit on it for it to be, you know, legit. So I look at it as like, start with something that's solid and then add to it tastefully, rather than just diving in and throwing, you know, a million colors and techniques and fades and all kinds of shit. Like, go step by step. You know, I look at it, you know, you can apply it to a bunch of different things, but I just think like learning the fundamentals, learning basic simple letters is a lot harder than you think. You know, even for people that have been doing it for a long time, it's still something that it's lacking in a lot of people's game. And so I would just say start with simple letters, and look at other things outside of graffiti too. Look at sign painters. You know, like when I go to Home Depot, I look at the hand styles on the little cards that list like the price and stuff. Like, they have ill hand styles, and it's not even from graffiti, it's from like sign painting. Mm-hmm. But you can learn, you know, how they hold the marker, how they do little flourishes, just stylish ways of executing your shit that doesn't necessarily all have to come from other graffiti. It can come from any kind of sources. You know, I look at nature to get ideas for doing pieces sometimes. I used to look at just like lobsters on how I could like make my bars be more interesting, you know, like the you know, what are they called, arthropoids or some shit like that. You know, just like, but that's for later. You know, like do simple shit and then work your way up to trying to apply the things that are unique to your artistic and creative input to your letters. But yeah, I think graffiti is just amazing because, you know, everybody's working with basically the same alphabet, but there's an untold number of styles within those 26 letters that, you know, are unique to a lot of different individuals and a lot of people that kind of fall into the schools under those leaders that sort of set those, you know, those trends and those guidelines for how to do this style writing thing. So
yeah.